and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Mason Knight, and with me is my co-host, Rains Love. We would like to welcome you to our fifth show of the Psychic Coffee Shop, where this evening we were discussing soulmates. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, tune up, and enjoy taking part in our show.
Welcome, everyone. We have the chat room open, so feel free to join us at the Psychic Coffee Shop. Tonight we hope that you enjoy your experience and that you're able to take with you information and knowledge to help you as you move along in your path of life. Tonight we will start the show by taking a moment to clear our minds, light our candle of light to the world, and as we light the candle, we send out pure white light to help all of you that are going through short storms in your life. May this light lead you to safe harbor, to rest, and find your way through your troubles. And so may it be.
So may it be. So now let's take time for a coffee break. This is part of the show where we discuss current topics, things that are on your hostess' minds, and just different things happening around in the world. This week's topic is developing your psychic abilities. When you first want to start developing your abilities, you want to begin the process by first meditating. I suggest you do this daily, at least for an hour. And I also suggest that you use a guided meditation CD. This way you can get comfortable in a nice recliner, let the CD, take you into the deep meditation, and really echo off of it. It's a great point to begin focusing yourself and, relaxing yourself. And also, you don't need to be in some pretzel position that's totally uncomfortable.
Yes, but it's also important, I think, that as you begin your meditation process, begin to start keeping a journal. This is not only for our daily activities, but for our dreams. Okay, the reason for this is because that when we begin to open up and write down things that we're dreaming about or things that are going through our minds, through our meditation, our psychic abilities begin to form. We begin to become more aware of them. For example, as you begin doing this, you're going to start noticing that, things that are in your dreams are going to become, a part of your everyday life. Your everyday life is also going to echo your dreams. Okay? The dreams validate what's going on in daily life, but daily life is also validating what you're seeing in the dreams as well. Okay?
Oh, yes, but it's also important to keep, also a tactful journal of what's going on in your daily life so you can go back and compare the experiences when you're having those gut feelings, when you're having those spots. And it's also just that you begin using some form of divination, such as tarot, oracle cards, or playing cards. And just start practicing your reading through those because it keeps you focused, it opens the third eye, and it also opens you up for more information.
And please understand that these steps are just the beginning steps to helping each and every one of us in developing our psychic abilities. But it's a good way to start if you don't know where to start and you don't know how to get tuned in. The next topic we want to talk about tonight is long-distance dating. Quite often you hear people say that long-distance relationships do not work. In fact, many people will choose to end or not even start a relationship with another person because of geographical distance. This presents a problem and often a confusing dilemma for many people because we live in a technology-based society. The question often for so many people is, why do we meet people online, whether it be chat or dating sites, if we're just subjecting ourselves to another person who's most likely going to end the relationship or only let it go so far as the computer or phone? Well, I want to, reinforce that there are, however, many people who are involved in long-distance relationships and have found ways to go through to get through the challenges. But there's specific steps that need to be taken in order for a long-distance relationship to be successful.
An example of that is trust. Trust and understanding that each of you are under different circumstances, that both parties live separate lives, some degree based on geological differences. Example, time. You can't see each other all the time. You can't communicate with each other all the time because sometimes you're sleeping and they're awake. And communication is also another key element to any long-distance relationship. Sending notes saying that they're going to be doing this and this today, or just by saying, hey, hope you have a great day. That's so important in a relationship, especially one where you're not seeing each other because of the distance.
Exactly. And, even sending emails, updating you or the other person on what's going on throughout your day or their day. There are some warning signs of problems with communication in the relationship if somebody's pulling away or distancing themselves. So look for those signs, okay? For example, if somebody is beginning to give excuses like, I don't have time, I'm with my kids this weekend, no contact on the holidays. If they're not fitting into your daily lives, just as if you were in a relationship that, with somebody that you see on a regular basis that's closer to geographically, it's going to be the same symptoms there, okay?
Also, another point is if they're avoiding meeting you, then they're not really interested in having a relationship, or they're scared to move past the online computer or by the phone. Now, those are signs that appear up very early in the relationship because they don't want to really discuss plans of meeting. They don't really want to say, okay, let's meet next March. Or, you've got to really go, okay, if that's not working, then something's got to be fixed. Here are some helpful tips on how to keep a long-distance relationship running and moving forward. Have a set time and location, safe to meet. Either, him coming to you or you going to him. Doesn't really matter. Have online dates. Have dinner, sit there, watch a movie online together. You can do literally anything you want to through the computer nowadays. Also have, plans out after the first meeting, when you're going to be meeting other people. Daily communication, like we said, even if you create a joint blog to where you guys are just blogging at each other, not really talking, but saying, I've had a really rough day at work, I swear I'm going to shoot the boss, that, really helps filling in the blanks of that person's life.
Exactly. And another thing that's really, really important is to have a master plan on how and when the relationship is going to progress in a forward direction, okay? When is everybody going to be meeting friends and relatives? Is there a regular time that everybody's going to be getting together? Do you have a regular schedule? This is really similar to a close-by relationship. It's just that you have to be a little bit more proactive and involved about, making sure that you're committed to keeping the relationship moving forward.
And alive. I travel a lot with with our careers. We end up going all over the place. But, it's really important that, for me, at home we always have family dinner. Well, I get Skyped in for dinner, which, that's really important. And, that's how it worked with my relationship, because my relationship started long distance. I was on the road for almost a year, and he was 9 hours away from our base location.
Exactly. Now, and here's another thing that people run into problems with, when somebody is several states away. Okay, they become very, very concerned about how this is going to work. Asen, what do you think would be a reasonable time period for people to kind of move closer together, in order to take their long-distance relationship and bring it into a relationship where there is not such a distance?
Well, it's almost by relationship. Because if you've got careers to move, you've got homes to move, you've got children to move, then 6 months to a year. But if you've got no ties to where you live, then there's no reason you should not be moving within 4 or 5 months. And then that doesn't mean you have to move in with them. That means that you are getting into a closer geological region to where you can go and have the dinner at the Ritz instead of sitting at home and having the dinner over the computer.
Yeah. Which, by the way, can be fun and romantic, too. But let's face it, physical interaction is much nicer if you can make that happen as soon as possible.
Very much so.
Yeah, but sometimes people have careers where they have to travel, so there really is no choice, but to include, some rules, with long distance, having a long distance relationship, and so sometimes it's just not a choice. This happens in marriages, this happens with dating, but the best scenario is if you can, as soon as possible, get everybody in the same state, on the same page.
And even in the same town.
Even in the same town. And it's also, another thing is, how do you decide who's going to do the movie?
Who is the least, it was our decision, who had the least to lose in movie. Meaning,
exactly.
His career was mobile, I'm traveling all the time, I own the house, he doesn't own the house. Who has the more beneficial area of the country? I mean, because some places jobs are plentiful, and some places they're just you may find one job within your field. So you have to really negotiate that out.
Yeah, and I think it's also important because sometimes people get so tied in on both ends of what they're not willing to give up. When you have a situation like that, you either need to be able to continue with the long-distance relationship, with some of the tools that we talked about to keep things alive, or, consider parting from the relationship, because there does need to be compromise, just as there needs to be compromise in any other relationship.
Oh, most definitely. Online or phone relationships are just, if not better, than a real-life relationship, because you're going to get into that person's psyche, not their physical self first.
Exactly. In fact, that's a very good point that you bring up, because I've experienced this myself, and I know you have too, Asen. But I've also talked to other people that, by having that connection, online, on the phone, chatting with somebody, you definitely get to know a lot more about them. So that actually by the time, even if you haven't met initially for a little bit, by the time you actually meet, you know so much about each other that it makes the connection so much better.
Right.
Obviously it's not something that you want to keep long term,
right.
Doing email and chat. You want to be able to start seeing each other immediately, but it's really important, to know that there really are some benefits, through this kind of communication. It's not completely as negative as it's presented.
And I'm going to say this after being in 5 years with a long-distance relationship that's turned distance. Most times when we're fighting, we still fight the same way. We still fight and chat instead of face-to-face. It's the weirdest thing, but it works better for us.
How interesting. And why do you think it works better for you?
Because then we can be ourselves and say, look, I don't freaking care. Or, I don't, we're not going to do that. Get over it. And it's not looking at that person and letting you can be yourself there.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know about you, but quite often when I have an issue with somebody, although I do believe that one-on-one is really important, but if you have difficulty, being honest and communicating because you're face-to-face with somebody, this is another form.
Right. And it also works great in everyday relationships.
Exactly. That's a good idea. I never thought about that. But there are other places where people get involved in long distance relationship. It's not necessarily just online and chat, is it?
Not always. I mean, dating sites, Match.com is one of them. They'll match you up with anyone in the globe. If you form a connection with that person, you can really have a wonderful relationship, but you've got to be able to put the work in.
Yeah. And this is something that, especially with the new technology, and this is a new way of people getting out there and meeting people, it's really important to understand that the likelihood of you finding yourself involved with somebody in a long-distance relationship is pretty good, okay? Because the old ways of dating still work, but this is a whole new venue, okay? And you've got people who are coming from different walks of life, finding different commonalities with people. And, what's ended up happening here is they find they might live 2 or 3 towns away, or a half hour away, or 45 minutes, or maybe a state or two away. And so the rules are really important to keep in mind because, if this is the person that you're having a connection with, and it's worth looking into, you need to make really, really sure that, you're, trying to take the steps to make sure the relationship is successful, although it has to be a two-way street.
Very much so. And if one's not pulling the toe, it's like any other relationship. You tell them to either pick it up and pull it or get out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be towing yourself all the way through.
Right, exactly. And I have to tell you, in all honesty, many people, this is one of the areas where they're actually meeting their soulmates nowadays.
Very much so.
Yeah. And I really, really think that in the past, a lot of times, the universe always brings us our soulmates no matter what.
Right.
But technology has really made it an opportunity for people to really start connecting with different people. And, finding out that their soulmates might very well be 2 or 3 states away. And so that brings us on to our next topic tonight, which, we're going to be discussing soulmates tonight.
Let me throw in here real quick, in our second part of the show, we will be giving one question readings. You can call in at 675-6825. But yes, tonight's topic is soulmates. And, first we need to take it even broader and address the first thing as soul groups. These are groups of people that you have shared past lives with and are part of roles in your life this time. They give you experiences and that you have charted yourself to be around them. These people are normally your family, friends, sometimes short associations, but not a lot. On the short associations, if they're just in there for a blink of the moment, they're not really in your soulmate or what I call soul classroom.
But now, short term, why would somebody be brought in short term?
It's kind of like they come into your reality or your classroom so that, you can learn off of them and they can learn off of you. And then once that tutoring between the two of your charts is done, you're done with it.
Exactly. Do you think that might have something to do with karma, maybe?
Karma sometimes. Sometimes it just has to do with, being around each other and, learning a lesson of, I don't have to put up with other people's stuff.
So now with respect to soulmates, I have to say that really there are 3 different categories, which, I think it's important that we kind of do a brief overview of each one of those categories first. First of all, we have the twin soulmates. And this is where you have 2 separate parts of a soul, one masculine and the other feminine or female, who go out to experience life separately. But when all their life experiences have been completed, they'll be united as one. They always have a yearning for each other and never feel complete because of the physical separation. Most people do not meet their twin souls because often they do not reincarnate at the same time. They are the yin and the yang of each other. They are truly one soul split in 2, to go out and experience life separately until they have worked out their lessons in order to be with one another. This is said to be the most complete relationship, and upon being reunited, they are able to serve God and the world in a more powerful and effective way due to their connection. Many of us might be familiar with this term, known as the twin flames. This is your twin soulmate.
Companion soulmates, these are relationships where 2 people have shared many lives and roles together. Therefore, there are at a comfort level between the 2 of them that makes them very compatible in a relationship. they have enough interest in common and to make a good relationship, but they also have differences in their personalities. These are souls that we usually find, in our early 20s, 30s, sometimes later. They can be members of your family or friends, but normally they enter as relationship soulmates. That's what we most experience as soulmates, or even discuss as soulmates. We never look at the other parts of the soulmates. They're relationships where they come together and meant to work out lessons in both their charts that, bring both the relationship and everything together. Also, karmic soulmates. These are relationships that come together because there's a karmic debt that's needed to be paid from a past life. This can be simply a relationship where one partner abandoned another, or as complicated as one murdered another. Once the debt is paid, it is no longer needed within the relationship realm to repeat itself, and both souls are released.
Exactly. Now, Asen, here's something, I want to interject for a minute, because often people come into soulmate relationships, and it's really difficult for them to really tell the difference between a karmic soulmate relationship and a companion soulmate relationship. How would somebody know if they were in a karmic soulmate relationship?
It's always either one or the other is unbalanced, meaning that the relationship is there for a specific reason. It seems like, you date the person and you always feel like you're doing all the work, or they're always doing all the work, or there's always a problem or an issue that has to be worked out. Mm-hmm. Once it's done with and worked over and you've learned a lesson, you're gone. They're gone normally.
Key word. They're gone. And really, once you get through that, the connection goes away, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And you don't care. You're happy they're gone.
But the companion soulmate, ultimately, and although there are many different types of companion soulmates, the companion soulmate, that feeling doesn't go away. Well, first of all, there's a misconception in our society as to what the true meaning of what a soulmate is. It's the belief that we meet someone and fall in love, everything is euphoric, we get married and live happily ever after. And although it is true that people do meet, fall in love, and get married to companion soulmates by definition, however, it is the companion soulmate that we share the strongest connection with that presents the greatest challenge of our lives. For those of us who have met this soulmate, they understand the euphoric aspect of the relationship, but it's the great struggle that begins shortly after that begins to take them on a journey that's very different from the Cinderella version that we have been presented with from society. It is the strong connection that throws people off. This connection surpasses any human understanding of what makes sense in the physical world. For example, with this connection, each partner in the soulmate relationship experiences an immediate familiarity with the other person. For example, you'll look in their eyes and you'll know. You'll be able to pick up on their energy, their thoughts. They can pick up when the other person is in danger or if they're pulling away from the relationship. And quite often, they can pick up that energy before it even happens. The difficulty with this is that it can be very confusing to know that down to your soul that you're supposed to be with this person and not be able to make sense of why you're going through all these issues. Not be able to understand why you've got all these barriers that are keeping the relationship from coming together. Understand that you have many soulmates, but it is the companion soulmates that you have shared the most lives with that you have the strongest connection with. And that's why that soulmate connection is so much different than the other soulmate connections. It's because you have shared many lives with them, and there's a very, very strong familiarity with that person.
It can be a very struggling experience. Many people go through these struggles For years, they often try to find resolution, but they are unable to come to terms with the separation. In fact, many times, although the separation is just a small part of the relationship, it grows and gets larger until they separate, so that they can work on their lessons together, separately, to bring themselves back together. These soulmates...
Go ahead.
These soulmates are, you see these people, they've, dated someone when they were 30, and they still look for them when they're 60.
Exactly. And the thing that I want to point out is because a lot of people go, are they thinking about me? Have they forgotten about me? Do they not love me? When you're talking about a soulmate relationship, both parties never forget the other person. They're parted because they have to go out and work on their life path, but they cannot forget that relationship. It's always with them, no matter where they go. And this, again, makes it so difficult when they're parted.
Very much so.
Yeah. The soulmate relationship is the ultimate, and I do mean ultimate, defining moment for each person involved in the relationship. Although throughout our lives, we experience defining moments, and there are many soulmate relationships that help us through those difficult learning experiences, including our parents, friends, sometimes other partners, sometimes other marriages. It is this companion soulmate with the most connections, the most life shares that we're talking about. This gets us down to the core of the greatest life learning lessons we are to achieve in this life. Our lives are forever changed upon the moment we make the connection with this soulmate. It takes us on a life-changing path, and many times through the separation, this forces us as individuals to work out our core issues. Core issues can be things like trust, abandonment, self-love. But it's not until both partners work out their issues that the relationship can truly come together and move forward. It's said that when the two meet and are separated, that it is about timing. The timing's not right. Everybody hasn't worked on their issues. God and the universe have brought you together to meet and know your truth. Know who you're supposed to be with. However, in knowing the truth and going through the turmoil of separation and struggles, each individual begins to understand that working out their life path is the only way back to the truth of the soulmate relationship being united. That's the area of greatest struggle, is coming to terms with you have to work on you. You have to work on your self-love issues. You have to work on your trust issues. Whatever the life path chart is that you have set for yourself.
And it's always so difficult. I've seen people be in that type of companion link and to be separated because they couldn't get their issues worked out together. And their goal is always to get back together. And when they're in that moment, they're still feeling that connection. They're still feeling that love, that desire, that want, that need, worrying about them. And to the point that they almost think that they're either obsessed, crazy, or a stalker. And they're none of that. They're just in a companion soulmate relationship.
Yeah. And that makes it really challenging because a lot of people really do start to question their own sanity. Why is it I feel this way about this person? Why can't I move on? And even some people are going, I've dated somebody else. I've married somebody else, but I can't lose this connection. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. You're experiencing a relationship that society as we know it isn't really addressing. They don't know that much about it.
Right.
Okay? Until you've actually experienced it. But the connection is not going to go anywhere. It's difficult to be parted, but you have to have faith that once you work out those issues, that the opportunity is going to come for you to be reunited.
Are you at a crossroads in your life? Or are you feeling stuck and not sure where to turn? We can help. Visit our website at psychic.biz from your computer, smartphone, or tablet, where you can get accurate readings and insight by speaking with any one of our tested advisors. We offer live chat, video sessions, one-on-one phone calls, and even email readings. We have several gifted psychics, tarot readers, astrologers, and other healers from around the world who are available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your initial chat is always free, and our psychics do offer special prices and low per-minute rates. Visit us today at psychic.biz and get the guidance you need today for your tomorrow.
The fact of the matter is both parties in a soulmate relationship simply cannot get away from the path that they've charted in this life, no matter what choices either soulmate makes. Because one may choose to run away. One may choose to say, forget it, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I can't be a part of this relationship anymore. Okay. They can go ahead and do that if they want. But the simple fact of the matter is they're not going to stop experiencing that love, that connection, and that knowing of the truth of the relationship. So if you're in that situation and you think they're not coming back, don't lose heart, because they always come back and readdress the relationship at different points in your life. That's kind of the deal. Is everybody working out their stuff? Is the timing right yet?
Have
sometimes
you got
it's
your
not right.
work done?
Yeah. And sometimes the timing isn't right for a lot of years, and that can be really challenging, you know.
But when they've gotten their past to where they're equal, they've got their work done to where they're equal. Example, they've got all their, to put it in school terms, you got all your English and your math done so you can work on your biology together.
Yeah.
That's when they do come together. That's when you hear about people in their 40s finding someone they dated in high school and just never forgot. You know, that's a companion soulmate right there. You know, or, you know, people in their 80s and 90s reuniting and marrying and, you know, bringing the whole family together. Those are companion soulmates that it took a while for them to get their stuff together.
And those people often married other people, had entire families, lived their entire life pretty much apart. But it's because they had to go through those experiences first before they were ready to be reunited and brought back into this perfect union. But the most important aspect of this relationship is to understand that it's absolutely necessary that each of us do our own life path work, okay?
Right.
Which definitely includes spiritual growth, because just by the definition of soulmate, whether we realize it upon meeting them or not, you are instantaneously put in a position where you will grow spiritually.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. And Asen, why is it that somebody will grow spiritually? What would you say about that?
Because it's what happens, honey. It's, you know, the old theory of, okay, if, you know, I go into this, I'm going to have to learn something. I'm going to have to put myself out there. And you put yourself out there, you find a great partner, a great study partner, but before you even got here, you know, you and your guides and them and their guides all sat down at this big round table and said, okay, I'm going to marry you according to my chart in this life, and we're going to work on control together. And we're going to work on trust together. And, you know, but I've got to go and do, you know, develop psychic abilities. I've got to work on my counseling skills. I've got to work on my rejection fears. I've got to work on this. I've got to work on that. You know, so they line it up and say, okay, you get this work done, then we meet, and then after we meet, we work on these issues.
Yeah.
Well, if you are going through life and they're going through life and la-da-da-da-da, you're not doing your work, but they're doing their work, and you meet. And that instant connection is formed, and the souls realize, oh, I'm supposed to marry you. And then you go, shit, I ain't got my homework done, so we can't do that. So they start having a struggle, and they separate. And, you know, you go off and do your thing, they go off and do their thing, and they may meet another soulmate. You know, you're not going to be alone. You're never alone, technically, but you're not going, you know, they may meet another one and work on their English homework together, and then come back and, you know, hook up with you and go, okay, I've got my English homework done. Can we do our biology work now?
Exactly. Now, and here's another reason why I think upon connecting with your soulmate, why you're on a spiritual journey, because through this connection. First of all, it's a supernatural feeling that you've never experienced. You can't explain how suddenly you can read somebody's mind, how suddenly you pick up on them or feel them around you when you're not with them. You can't explain that to yourself, let alone anybody else. So it puts you in a position where you begin searching, going, okay, what is this? This is completely different from any other experience I've ever had. Okay, and again, I want to reiterate that the difference is because you shared more lives together. Okay, so that's why the connection's so strong. But it's through that experience, plus often if you are separated to go out and do your life chart separately for a period of time, you're still left with this feeling and this connection that's not going away. Well, when you can't find answers to that in the real physical world, you're going to definitely be looking for answers to that in the supernatural world. That, in part, I feel is a very good reason why, you also get propelled on your spiritual journey as well. Because, again, it's something you don't understand, like anything else, like religions or anything else. We don't understand it, so we're going to seek the answers so that we can find resolution to why is this relationship, why is this connection in my life.
Right. And it's going to lead you onto more spiritual questions of, okay, what am I doing here? Why am I going through this? Why did I even chart this? And the whole echo of that, or the simplest answer, is love. You charted it for love. You're down here for love. You're down here to learn. Love, understanding, completion.
Yes. Asen, a lot of people struggle with, especially when they're going through this separation time, especially when they're going through the off and on period. And there are a lot of relationship books, that talk about he's just not that into you and so forth. But when you're going through this struggle and you're still having this connection, a lot of people really begin to doubt whether or not they will be reunited. What is your take on that?
My take on that in general is listen to your heart. If your heart says I love him, then you love him. And it's not going to replace that. But you got to understand, okay, apparently you didn't do part of your homework so that you could work on it, so that you two could work together. So you need to take on your own personal issues. Work on your suitcase. Maybe you're supposed to start a career. Maybe you're supposed to be doing this or doing that, or being more spiritual, or being more loving, or being more trusting. That's when you got to go, okay, this is where I need to work on this before I can do anything else, because now I've got to make up this lesson that I've missed over here, but I can't do that until I get the rest of them done.
Exactly. And you know what? Here's another important thing to look at. Quite often, one of the issues that most of us have to work on is self-love. We have to love ourselves.
Of course, because you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else.
Exactly. But, there's a lot of people who become very discouraged, and they'll walk away. But even in walking away, do you think that's an absolute that you will not be reunited?
Almost not. That's when you're most likely to get reunited just to prove you're wrong. Universe loves to do it. They say, and you mark your words. And I love it when people come to me right after a divorce, and they go, I am never, ever, ever getting married again. And then about 6 months to a year later, I go out to the mailbox, and I've got this lovely invitation that says, we would like to invite you to Mrs. Johnson's wedding. And I just want to pull them up on the phone and go, see, I told you you'd marry again. I'll take my $20 tip.
Yeah. Now, here's another interesting thing, too. Okay, and I know people, I've heard this story a lot of times, saying, I asked God to bring me my soulmate. Or, I told God I don't believe in soulmates. Within a week or 2 weeks to a couple of months, boom, there's your soulmate. What do you think that's about?
Well, you done the one thing you should never do. You don't challenge somebody that is all-knowing, all-omnipotent, and all-powerful. Because you know what? He's going to go, you ain't done your work yet. That's fine. Hey, spirit gods, drive them two together and let them see each other. Then we'll see what they have to say. You do not challenge God on any form. God, goddess, don't challenge them, because I promise you, you will get slapped heavily.
And the thing of it is once, okay, and that comes back to what we were talking about earlier. Okay, sometimes soulmates are brought together, and simply the timing is just not quite right. Okay, and that's why you've got this back and forth for so long. That's why they part. That's why they come together. They readdress the relationship. Has anybody figured out their problems? You know, and it's because the timing is wrong. Everybody still hasn't worked out their issues. But doesn't mean all your issues have to be perfect by the time you get reunited, does it?
No, but you have to at least get the work done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rains, we have our first caller tonight. You want to go ahead and take it?
Sure. But just real quick, you know, if you would like to, please call 1-424-675-6825 if you would like to call in and get a, 1-minute mini reading. And please, if you could give us your name and birth date, that would be great. And, let's go ahead. Welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. How can I help you?
Yes, callers, area code 6110.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop.
Who are we speaking with tonight?
My name is Marie.
Hello, Marie.
Hi. And do you need a birth date, did you say?
That would be great.
Okay. 7/26/61.
Okay. How can we help you tonight, Marie?
Just wondering about the situation with my husband, if it's going to work out or not.
Okay. And what is his name?
Jim.
Jim. Okay. Jim.
I feel it does, honey, but there's a lot of communication that has to go on there. There's a lot of undefined emotions that isn't really opening up and being spoken about. Okay, once those are cleared away, I feel like it will work out and be almost a total rebirth of the relationship.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
I just don't see how is he going to do that. Is there a miracle? I mean, am I going to say the right prayers?
It feels to me like he just gets to the point to where he basically is hitting a brick wall and has to spill his guts.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any time frame on that, or you can't tell?
Is there any what?
Before February.
Oh, wow.
Okay, because you guys are taking a trip in February together, and I don't think that you would be doing that arguing.
Wow, okay.
And here's something else, okay, and back to the walls. He has walls up, like he can't get through them, can he?
Oh, geez, it's like bunkers, like you could, bring him into a raft. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he's so, but it's really hard because I see him really wanting to communicate, and wanting to open up, but it's almost like he doesn't know how. He's got this big wall of protection around, and it's that walls come tumbling down. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Is there anything I should know about how I should behave or anything, or?
Communicate with him. Talk to him. He talks to you.
Communicate, but there's something that I'm picking up with. Okay, and I know that he puts those walls up when it comes to really getting into the emotions, trying to get them open up there. So maybe go at it from a perspective of, trying to ease into it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, I see with him that as soon as it gets emotional, there's walls. Okay, so ease into it if you can. Okay? Try to go at it from a different angle. Hey, maybe like we said, movie and dinner on the computer or TV at home, just kind of try to go relax and try to open up the communication doors that way.
Okay.
There is going to come a point where he's going to feel like he has to let it out. He has to open up.
Does it feel like he will I mean, he might open up, but does it feel like he'll open up his, he's like closed off the possibility that it would be with me, like he's thinking it'll be with some other woman.
No, it'll be with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is him more questioning himself and not really knowing how to get things back on track with you. So it's like, okay, I can't make this work, so, I'll go find another solution. But ultimately, I don't see him doing that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, dear. Now, if you'd like to reach us for something in more detail or you need us, you can always reach us at psychic.biz.
Thank you very much. Marie, you have a blessed evening and a blessed holiday season.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, lines are open, but, let's get back to Soulmates for a minute because, right here is a key example of work that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Those walls are put up because they're protective devices from being hurt in the past. You don't need them when you get into the future. So right there's an example of someone having to do some work.
Uh-huh. But it's really hard for the person who's dealing with the other person putting the wall up.
Oh, very much so.
Okay. Like, how do you open up those walls? How do you open up those walls when the other person is saying, I give up, I can't do this? That's a really big challenge. And, Asen, what do you think would be some suggestions on how for a person to get them to open up the walls?
The best way is don't try to go in and break them down yourself, because with every wall there is a hole. It may be a small hole. And it comes for that person to get comfortable again with communicating and with letting those walls down and being themselves. You cannot go at them aggressively, because in instantly aggression, everybody puts their defenses up. Fighting and arguing, yelling and screaming, being hyper, belligerentating them isn't going to work in a minute. It's going to make that wall 10 times thicker. But if you go at them and you go, we really need to look at our budget. I'd like to find money to go and buy you a new outfit. That's coming at them at a point, we were just arguing 10 minutes ago and you want to buy me an outfit? What do you want? And then they start really picking past that wall to see what's going on the other side of it.
When you have a soulmate who's got a wall up and you've tried and you've struggled for years, okay? And I do want to bring that up because I know that sometimes people are in that situation where they've been patient, and they can't get that wall down, yet they're still in their life. What do you think would be some good tips for them?
Meditate, work on yourself. Limit distractions when you're talking with them. Example, husbands and wives, I think you guys should be required each week to take an hour in the car by yourself with the radio off so you can talk. Because if you're talking, and it doesn't even have to be about the relationship, it can be about what color you're painting the living room, or what color you're going to, what you're going to be doing next week.
Exactly. And, here is the thing, okay? When communication, when those walls come up, you've got to be very, very creative.
Right.
And a lot of times people get so stressed out and they feel like somebody's closed them off. And it's really an energy that's put out there, too, that, they almost feel immobilized. And so you have to be really creative, and you have to really be willing to take some risks there.
Right. Okay, well, we're going to take our next caller. It's area code 662.
Hello?
Hello, and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. Can we have your name and birth date, please?
Lysandra, 6/28/83.
And how can we help you, hon?
Could you give me some insight on my marriage to let me know if my husband and I will reconcile?
Okay. Let me take a look here, honey. I feel you will, honey. But I feel like he, on the other hand, has got some crap on his hands, on emotionally, psychologically, and I want to say physically. From financial woes to really needing to get a direction.
Mhm.
Okay? And from what I'm looking at, you got to sit back on the back and give him time to get that cleaned up.
And how long am I looking at?
You're looking at least until mid-year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He's not really being honest with you all the time either, is he?
No. I know it's a third party involved.
Yes. This is part of the cleaning up that we're talking about. The thing that I do want to tell you, yes, he does have to get his messes cleaned up, but ultimately, when it comes to choice, you are going to be the one that he is going to choose.
Do you know when he will stop talking to her, or
mid-March? Because that relationship doesn't have responsibility with it until then. And then at that time, he's going to go, oh, no, I've got this at home. I'm going home. Forget that.
Okay. And by then, I plan on being gone. I plan on relocating, so
he'll follow you.
You're feeling very, very disconcerted with this at this point, aren't you?
Yeah, I really am.
Yeah. Here's my question to you. With respect to him getting this taken care of, do you still feel that you want the marriage in the long run if he's willing to take those steps?
If he's willing to take those steps, yes. But if he come back with the same crap, then no.
Right. That's why he's having to learn, take responsibility, cut out the drama, cut out the clowniness, and grow up. I feel
he's been calling me, but I just haven't been answering. I haven't been answering his phone call because I know that, he's still with the drama.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, do you see him trying to come back anytime soon, leaving her and trying to come back to me anytime soon?
Within about 3 weeks.
There are some things going on with that relationship, and I do feel like, yes, he is trying to reach out to you. However,
he just left. He left, and he came back last Tuesday. Then he left again yesterday. Mm-hmm. But today he been calling me all day, but I haven't answered his phone calls because I told him if he walked out the door, that was it.
Right. And I would hold to that stance until he brings something to the table.
Mm-hmm. And that's what, I'm doing. I'm trying to hold to that because I need him to know that I'm serious.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he needs to know that he cannot go back and forth. This is not fair to you.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have his cake and ice cream, too.
Yes.
It's one or the other.
You don't see a pregnancy or anything around her, do you?
No. I don't. I feel like she may try that as a ploy, but it's not going to work.
Oh,
okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And have you kind of, with respect to your boundaries that you've set, since you've given him this ultimatum at this point in time, are you clear on what those boundaries are?
Yes. I told myself that if he doesn't come back and if he comes back and he doesn't have his stuff together, I'm not opening the door. I'm not, and I'm going to hold firm to that because I know that if he come back in 2 or 3 weeks, I know that he still is not going to be ready.
Exactly.
I know that he's not, and I'm not going to set myself up for the same thing that I've been doing.
Right.
So, I would gladly tell him, hey, you don't have to move back in, but you can, stay with your cousin, and we can take it one step at a time, go out on dates or whatever, we probably have to do, but I'm not jumping back into anything with you at this point because I know that in 2 or 3 weeks he won't be ready. Yeah, he'll probably be missing me or afraid that I'm with someone else. and try to come and interrupt my life all over again. And then then a week later, then he right back, at her place.
Right. You can't be doing that. You need to tell him you can't be doing that. We ain't going to deal with that.
You're using a lot of wisdom, okay? First of all, you're loving yourself and you're setting boundaries for yourself and you're understanding the situation and the reality of how it is. Okay? And hold true to your boundaries.
I've wasted like a whole year with all my focus being on this marriage, and now it's time for me to focus on me. And
you need your focus to be at to begin with, honey.
Yeah.
I know.
Focus on you. Yeah, you're doing good. Good. That's right.
Do you see me relocating in March or February?
March. Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be right on the tail end of that, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, because I see him throwing his suitcase on the moving truck that's trying to pull out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need him to know that I'm not playing with him anymore.
Exactly. You need to lay the law down, honey, and go put on those, what I call those high heels, and make him walk the line.
Yeah, I have to take control of the situation.
Exactly. You've got a little boy here trying to be a man.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome, hon. You have a great...
You have a wonderful holiday, too. Blessings over you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now we're going to go on to our next caller. It's area code 951.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Who are we speaking with tonight?
My name is Jada.
Hello, Jada or Jada?
Jada.
Jada. Hello, Jada. How may we assist you tonight?
I wanted to see if you guys can tell me if you pick up marriage for me, and if so, when will I be meeting the person?
Jada.
I feel later February, after Valentine's Day. I feel you'll meet him when he's not at his best, but I feel like he's a really good, high emotional, very active person. He has a rounded face, a very sharp nose, highly emotional. You'll see emotion and activity all around him. I will not doubt if this man does not have ADHD and cannot sit down for nothing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, okay, but the deal is, he may not initially, present himself as all together, but in the long run, you will love him and he will love you. And this is the person that you're going to be with.
And he'll be dragging you right along with him the whole way through, honey.
Okay. Do you guys know what line of work he may be in, or?
It would have to be something like sales, something that's very active, sales or medical, or both, medical sales.
Okay. And you think I meet him in February, you say?
After Valentine's Day.
After Valentine's
Day. Yeah.
Okay. And can I ask if you guys pick up any future children for me?
At least 2, honey. One will be a boy that'll be very much needing of your time, especially as a young age. And then the other one I don't get the sex on.
Okay. Rain, do you get it? Do you pick up anything?
I see the other one being a boy as well.
Okay. So you
I see 2 boys. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay.
You have a wonderful holiday. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And you.
You're welcome. Well, guys, that's the end of our 5th show. We want to thank you guys for joining us.